Hey, it's Dave Williams here with this week's Weekly Wisdom. And how are you? I hope I'm finding you well. I hope you've had either a great week so far or indeed a great weekend and life has been treating you well. So this week's Weekly Wisdom is going to be a bit different because I'm going to be talking about the weather. And you may well be like, Dave, what do you mean about the weather? Well, look, we're British, or I'm British anyway, and it seems to be our favourite pastime. Let's talk about the weather. And the reason why I'm going to be talking about the weather is, well, let me show you. Okay, this is going to seem a bit weird. And you can see, as far as the garden is concerned, the last rays of sunshine as far as today. Or the last rays of sunshine for today, should I say. But it's not been like that all day. See, a bit earlier today, we had a thunderstorm. And to say that the heavens opened and the rain came crashing down was an understatement. They were like steroids, they're totally vertical when they were coming down with such ferocity. And as I said, we're British. We talk about the weather all the time. If in doubt, talk about the weather, because it's always a safe bet, because it's a common ground for everyone in every part of the world, pretty much, because especially here in the UK, the weather is so interchangeable. But why talk about the weather? Great question. Well, doesn't weather imitate life? And as I explained, as far as today is concerned, we've got great sunshine and glorious sunshine right now, as indeed we did this morning. And in between that, we had that torrential rain and with that thunderstorm. But let's say, doesn't it mirror life? So today we've had extremes. We've had really great sunshine. We've had really poor weather. As in really wet weather. And for so many people, that impacts them in a lot of ways. Have you noticed that, excuse me, I've got an itch. As a generalization, how many people smile more when the sun's shining? What's that about? Well, you think about it, so many times that we've seen, especially when we were growing up and as we got into more experienced in life, so many pictures of the sun, they had a smiley face on them, didn't they? So it's an association that we have that when the sun's shining, we should be happy. And when the clouds come and the rains come, then obviously not smiling as much then because, it's a bit dour, it's wet, quite often it's a bit cold as well. And that's what I mean about the weather imitating life. Because, like I say, so many people smile and smile an awful lot more when the sun is shining. But they don't when we get adverse weather. But couldn't we smile when we were getting adverse weather as well? Because the reality is, look, we need the sunshine, we also need the rain to grow. Because we're part of nature. And we need those particular extremes, because if you think about it, as far as plants are concerned, they need both, like I say, to grow, to nurture, to expand. But we do as far as human beings are concerned as well, because let's face it, we need the rain because that's where the vast majority, if not all of our drinking water comes from, depending on which part of the world that you're in, obviously. And as a dear person in my life used to say, when it rains, it's liquid sunshine. Because it's very easy to smile when the sun is shining. But it should be so easy to smile as well when we're getting rainfall, because we need it. And that saying, when it rains, it's liquid sunshine because we need it, like I say. And we always have the choice as to what meaning that we can give to any particular situation. And when I say the meaning, what I mean by that in reality is the emotion that you give to any particular situation. And that's key as far as life is concerned when you think about it. Because the quality of life is the quality of our emotions and the meaning that we give to any particular situation. Because to master your life, realistically, you need to master your emotions. And I'm glancing down at the moment because for the first time in ages, I've actually made some notes for the likes of these weekly wisdoms, because when I'm talking, I talk from the heart. I talk with passion. And it's my passion to share things that can potentially, have a good impact for yourself. But this week I've actually made a couple of notes. So if I keep on glancing down, that's the reason, so I can keep on track. Because if not, I could actually turn this into about 3 hours. And that's the last thing that you want. But like I say, weather mirrors life. We have lovely weather, we have not so good weather. And life, we have great times and we have not so great times. So that's why I say when it comes to the weather, in effect, it's imitating life. Because we go through peaks and troughs all of the time. Don't you? Yeah, we're human beings, we're bound to. And I know I've certainly had loads and loads of peaks and troughs in my life. But so does everyone else. And that's why I say it's key to how we manage our emotions when we're going through challenging times. Because our emotions are easy when things are really great, aren't they? Let's be honest. We don't give too much thought to our emotions then. But it's these times when, things are a bit darker, a few more challenges, etc. And that's when the key to managing our emotions becomes so powerful. Because even when we're going through challenges, there are always good scenarios to come out of those challenges. Although, I hasten to add, it may not feel like it at that particular moment. And I know when I've been going through my really, really challenging times, it has been a challenge to look for the good that was in that particular scenario. And with virtually every situation when we're going through great times, it's easy, like I say, but not so good times, it can be a challenge to find the good in that particular scenario. But I'm sure you're like I am and have had peaks and troughs in your life so far. And you think about it, when you've overcome these challenges, what was the good that came out of it? Now, to be fair, it may well have been really painful at that time when you were going through those challenges. And I know it has been for me personally. But when I look back, and I look back at how I've grown as a person, with the experience, with the learning of how to deal with different challenges, that's been great for me. That when I've come across additional challenges as I became a bit more experienced in life, may not have been the same challenges, but knowing how to manage my emotions to deal with those challenges has been so empowering. And I'm so grateful for those experiences many years ago to help me through the challenges that I experience in the current day. So like I say, rain, liquid sunshine. If we view it that way, then hey, it's one of those things. We need it. But again, when it comes to challenges, so many people get so wrapped up in these challenges. And don't get me wrong, they need handling. So we do need to get wrapped up in them. But when we get wrapped up in them, is it also possible to think of something great in our lives? Yes? I'm sure it is. See, and when we think of something great in our lives that may well be not associated with this challenge, then what we're doing, we're actually changing our physiology, our emotional attachment to that challenge. And what we're doing, we're then embracing that challenge from a place of power, not fear. Because for most people, not everyone, but for most people, when they're going through challenges, they're approaching it through this emotion of fear. Fear of what's going to go wrong, fear of, oh no, this sort of thing again. And it's not approaching that particular challenge from, like I say, a place of empowerment. And when we approach these things from a place of empowerment, the challenges become easier. Now, I'm not saying they become easy. Don't get me wrong. Don't get the two mixed up. I'm saying becoming easier. Because like I say, when we're empowered, we look at things differently. May well seem a bit surreal to say that or to hear that, but we look at things differently. Because challenges are just a moment in time. And as I've shared previously, you will have had loads of challenges previously in life, I'm sure, or certainly some, but you've overcome them. But quite often when we're going through challenges, wow, this is the worst time in my life. And sometimes it may well have been, or indeed is. But like I say, they're a moment in time. And the beauty of any particular challenge is we can overcome it. You can overcome your particular challenges, no matter what they are. Now, sometimes you're not going to get the ideal outcome, but you're going to get an outcome. And when you approach it through a place of empowerment, you're going to get the best outcome of that particular situation that you can do. Whereas if you're approaching it with an emotion of fear, the chances are the outcome that you're going to get out of that challenge is going to be, nowhere near the ideal for what you were looking for. See, really successful people in life are the people that really manage their emotions. Now, that could be as far as relationships is concerned. Relationships as a whole, and indeed intimate relationships with a partner. It could be as far as business is concerned. It could be their profession. If you take sports as an example, at the time of recording this, the England cricket team have just won the third test, I think it was, and it could be argued at one stage, they were really against it. But what they did, they battled through. They had this core belief that they could achieve the outcome that they wanted, so they managed their emotions. They could have gone to the emotion of, well, we've just lost the last two test matches, and it's not looking good as far as this one is concerned. And indeed, some of the players may well have been thinking that. I don't know, because I'm not in their head. But some of them, I can grant you, will have actually been, right, we can do this, right? We've done it before. We've actually beaten this team before. We've beaten other teams before. And that was the thing that they were thinking of. So they were approaching their emotional state through empowerment. Drawing on those experiences where they've overcome challenges previously and applied that to the current situation that they were in today. And I'm not sharing that particular story to say, oh, England cricket, isn't it wonderful? Because you may not follow cricket, It's, but you can apply that to so many different things. And it's all about the emotion and the emotional intent that we apply to any situation. And that's what I mean by managing our emotions. They were going through a challenge in as much as there were X amount of runs behind. Sorry, I can't remember. But they overcame it. Because their belief was, we're going to get the outcome that we want. And we're going to do everything we can to get the outcome that we want. But you could argue, but Dave, they lost the previous two test matches. Yes, they did. As I said a bit earlier on, sometimes, even when you're actually feeling really, really empowered, you're not quite going to get the outcome that you were looking for. And in both of the previous test matches where England were beaten by Australia, then the reality was, with both games, it was a relatively close finish and it could have gone either way. Whereas at one stage, they were looking down and out in each and every test match. And that's what I mean. See, it's the emotion that we attach to it. It's managing our emotions to go out there and do what needs to be done to achieve the outcome that you want, or get as close to it as possible. See, they could have just given in and said, oh, this Australian team, that's way too strong for us. The next delivery that's bowled to me, I'm bound to get out. And in which case, they would have lost by a heck of a lot more runs. And that's just one particular example. There's loads of examples that have happened realistically, even as far as sport in the UK or around the UK is concerned, and this particular weekend. But not only that, there are loads of people in life that have achieved some phenomenal things over the last couple of days, over the last week, over the last month, etc., that when they look back, they'll be thinking, wow, how did I do that? And they managed their emotions when they were dealing with it. And that's key. I'd say challenges are a moment in time and they rarely last. That's the thing. They do rarely last. And that's the thing to take into account. These challenges, it's a short-term thing. And realistically, when you think as far as your lifespan is concerned and the challenges that you've had, when you analyse it, now no matter how old you are in life, or should we say how experienced you are in life, when you look at it, these challenges, while it may well have been a monumental time in your particular life, when you take let's say it was a month, and let's just say that you're around 30 years of experience now. So when you think 1 month into 30 years, it's a small percentage, really small percentage. And when you get to my experience in life, it's an even smaller percentage. But at the time, we need to get it handled. We need to deal with it and come through the other side. And the best way to do that is when we empower ourselves, not disempower ourselves when we approach things through fear. See, I've said that most successful people in life, are the people that manage their emotions. And if you manage your emotions, then you're already in the top 5-10% of the world population. Because the vast majority of people don't. The vast majority of people are managed by their emotions. They are not managing their emotions. In other words, they're letting their emotions take over their actions. They are not dictating their actions to manage their emotions. And that's such a key element as far as life is concerned. Okay? So the main way to manage your emotions is to ask yourself empowering questions. Now, you may well be thinking, oh, yeah, that sounds like poppycock, Dave. And to be honest, until I learnt this, yes, I thought along similar lines. I did. Because my background, pardon me, bless her, with my mum, and no longer with us now, unfortunately, because she passed away a couple of months ago at the time of recording this. I used to say, as far as my mum is concerned, she could find any negative out of any positive situation. And she could, in my humble opinion. And indeed, Mum and I used to laugh about it, to be fair. And that's what I mean about asking empowering questions where most people don't. See, most people actually go through life asking themselves disempowering questions, such as, why is it I'm never lucky? Or why does this situation always happen to me and no one else? And maybe you've had experience of that. I don't know. I know I certainly have when I was less experienced in life, shall we say. Because that was the experience I'd had. And like I say, and I'm not having a go at my mum here by any means, because for me, she was a wonderful person. But I didn't know any different at the time. Because that's what I'd grown up with. So this is where we need to flip it. So instead of asking disempowering questions, if that's the type of thing that you do, then ask yourself more empowering questions. Such as, what's the good in this situation? And again, if you're going through some challenges at the moment, then you may well be thinking, well, Dave, I can't think of any good in this. And you can think that. There's no two ways about it. So in that case, reframe the question. So what could be the good in this situation, or the good to come out of this situation? See, your mind works exactly like a Google search engine, okay? It's just that you don't need to type the question in. Because as the age-old adage from the Bible, what you ask is what you receive. So if you ask yourself disempowering questions, then you're going to get, guess what? Disempowering answers. Whereas if you ask yourself empowering questions, you're going to get empowering answers. because your mind is there to look for solutions if we give it the right direction to look in. So I hope that makes sense. You know, if you've not come across anything like this before, it may well sound a bit woo-woo. And yeah, I grant you, yeah, it may well sound a bit woo-woo, but it's not meant to be, because this is how the mind works. Okay. Another empowering question could well be, yeah, if you're going through some challenges at the moment, as an example, yeah, how many people on the planet would love to have these particular challenges right now instead of their own? Now that can be a really empowering question, because let's face it, there are all sorts of people in life that are going through, in comparison to most, some really difficult challenges. And it may well be trying to get a roof over their head, trying to get the next meal, trying to find fresh water. And when we break it down to scenarios like that, quite often the challenges that we're actually going through, hey, in comparison, yeah, they're nothing really. Now, I'm not dismissing any particular challenges that you're going through at the moment, because that's going to be at the forefront of your mind, because you need to get them handled. And another one, yeah, if I look back 5 years ago, would I have wanted these challenges now? And when I say that, I don't mean that anyone wants, yeah, just give me another challenge. I don't mean it that way. What I mean by that is the fact of, if you go back 5 years where you were then, look at how far you've actually grown to get where you are now to have these challenges. Okay, and there may not be the ideal challenge. And look, you may not be going through challenges at all at the moment, in which case, great. But think about these things for next time you do come across a challenge. And another one could be, although I'm going through this challenge at the moment, how will this situation propel me for the next 5 years once I've overcome it? See, there are loads and so many different questions that are empowering that we can ask ourselves to set us up to overcome any particular challenge that we've got currently, and then move forward and utilize these experiences now or from recent experiences that we've had when we've overcome challenges to Mr. Grimsdale, no, to propel us moving forward. See, as far as life is concerned, it's either a lesson or a warning. And our experiences, we can use that way for ourselves. Either as a warning for ourselves moving forward, or as an example to ourselves of how to overcome these things. And share those experiences with other people, that when they're going through challenges, they can see what you've experienced, how you've overcome them, and you are then impacting other people and influencing other people with some great life lessons that can potentially turn their pain from decades into days. And we do that by managing our emotions. And that's what I mean as far as let's talk about the weather, because it does imitate life in so many ways. Or should I say, life is imitating the weather in so many ways, because let's be honest, we do have challenges, and a bit like thunderstorms, they don't last forever. So if you're going through some challenges at this particular moment in time, then look, giving you every positive thoughts, every empowering thought that I can do through this particular medium, because you can overcome this. You will overcome this, and you'll become a better person for it because of the experiences that you're going through right now. How can I say that? Well, I don't know your life. I don't know your experiences, but I can say from my own, and some of them have been they've not been they've been very painful. And I've overcome them. So if I can, then you certainly can. So I hope you've got some value from this week's Weekly Wisdom. And I'll just leave you with, no matter where you are, whatever you're doing, keep on being special. And yeah, keep on sprinkling your special, unique dust to be able to influence the people around you in a better way. So take care, keep on being special, and I look forward to catching up with you soon. All right, bye now.